everybody. Happy Wednesday, and I hope you like lucky numbers. This is episode number 13 of Lowry at Home. I'm your host, Naturalist Kirk. You know, as I've been looking around outside, I've been noticing more and more trees starting to bud out, and Naturalist Lauren was noticing that as well, and has come up with a fun Lowry at Home. Do try this experiment for you to try out. So take it away, Lauren.
Hey everybody, it's Naturalist Lauren, and today I have an experiment for you to try at home. Have you been noticing anything different happening to the trees lately? Because now that the snow is gone and the temperatures are starting to rise, we're starting to see something, especially at the tips of their branches. We are noticing buds. Buds are getting ready to pop. Basically, this is the time of year when spring trees are getting ready to grow their leaves so that they can convert sunshine into energy through those leaves and be able to continue growing through the summer. Now, the experiment we're going to do today is a phenology experiment, and phenology is the study of cyclical change in nature over time. Basically, what that means is we, as scientists, have been watching and noticing that trees are getting ready to burst their buds. Some trees have already started doing that. And we want to see if we can collect a few samples, change the growing conditions, and then see if we can get those leaves to sprout, to bust out of the buds earlier than on the trees outside. Here's what you're going to need. A glass jar or container that holds water, because that's where you're going to put your samples so that they can continue growing. You're going to need some clippers, like a scissors or a garden clippers or a sharp edge, to be able to collect your samples off the tree branches. You're going to need a notebook of some sort and a writing utensil to record your data. And then if you would like, you can use some Scotch tape, and I'll explain a little bit later why you're going to need that. But we're going to have to go find a tree, so here we go. All right, so we found our tree. Luckily, I didn't have to venture too far because I'm just in my backyard. And what you need to do is you want to find a branch that has some buds on it. So if we come in here, we see this is a sugar maple. So it's got a couple of those buds there. And what I want is a specimen that's probably about 8 inches to 10 inches long that I can clip and bring inside so I can put it in my jar. You want to make sure that your branch has buds on it, because otherwise you're definitely not going to get any leaves to grow. So very carefully, I'm doing this with one hand, take your clippers or your scissors, find that edge, and clip. Woo! Once you've collected all of your samples, you can head back to wherever you've been keeping the rest of your materials. And this is the point in time where I actually like to label my branches so I can remember which trees I took them from. And that's where the tape can come into play. You can take a piece of tape, probably about 3 inches long or so, and take your branch specimen. And I like to take the center of my tape and wrap it around the middle of my branch, like so. Fold it over on itself, and that creates a bit of a label. And then you can take your writing utensil and you can write down what type of tree it came from. Now this tree was a maple. Ooh, let's see. So I wrote down maple, if you can read that, and now I can add it to my jar. Now that you've labeled all of your samples, it's time to move your experiment inside. You want to find a place to put your jar with lots of water and plenty of sunlight, because they're plants. So that's what you're going to need to influence your experiment. Because remember, the goal of our experiment is we want to alter the growing conditions so that we can get the buds on our samples to leaf out, to pop open before the buds outside. Now, you want to make sure that your spot is in a safe location. So if you've got a dog or maybe young hands, that your buds are somewhere that, they can't be reached. But once you've got your spot selected, now you want to make sure you've got a data sheet put together to collect your data. Because as phenologists, we're going to compare the data we collect on our samples to what we're seeing outside. So I made a very basic sheet that has the date I collected my samples listed, the 3 species of trees from where my samples came. So I've got an apple tree, a maple tree, and an aspen tree. And then I was optimistic and I left 7 days worth of space to collect data. Hopefully that means that we'll start to see some results within the first 7 days. If we don't, I've always got space to add an extra page. But When you record your data, you can draw pictures of what you're seeing every day on your buds. You can write descriptions of what you're seeing. Some people take photos. It's your experiment. You can collect data however you choose. Now, my goal is that we'll be able to touch back a little bit, maybe next week, maybe the week after, to compare results, but hopefully we'll start to see some leaves soon. Thanks everybody, and we're gonna send it back to Kirk.
All right, the race is on. The buds are going to be popping out. Is it going to happen first on Lauren's windowsill, on your windowsill, or out here in the woods? Tell you what, take pictures and send them in to us so we can see your buds popping out where you are. We'll put them into the slideshow at the beginning of the show. Thanks so much for joining us here at Lowry at Home, and we'll see you tomorrow for another exciting day of Lowry at Home.